Good morning, everybody, and happy Memorial Day weekend to you. We're taking a short intermission this week before we have our final virtual Sunday video next Sunday, and we encourage everybody to check that out. It's going to be really exciting. We really love what we're working on. We're going to give it a little bit more time as we put some pieces together for it. But we have a few announcements to make today and a devotion to share with you. So hope you will tune in for the next few minutes for this. And it's something I want to share with you all is just a little bit of the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And you may have heard this story 100 times, maybe none, but basically there were three guys that decided that they wouldn't follow the king's order to bow to a statue made of gold, and instead they would worship God. And the penalty for this was to be thrown into a fiery furnace to be burned alive. But they still chose to not follow the rules of man, the corrupt rule of not following and worshiping God from this particular culture, but decided that worshiping God was more important. Even at the risk of their lives, there was something better, even greater than their lives. And they mentioned to the king, they said, "Hey, we have to do this, but if you throw us in there, our God will deliver us. And even if he doesn't, we still would never disobey our God." And it's a pretty just fantastic story. You got to check it out sometime. Daniel chapter 3 is where you can find it. But there's a really powerful verse, really powerful part of this story that I want to share very quickly, and a song that has really just been touching my heart lately, and I think has a ton to do with this. And this starts in verse 23. It says, "But the three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the furnace of blazing fire. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished, and he rose up quickly. He said to his counselors, 'Was it not three men that we threw bound into the fire?' They answered the king, 'True, O king, but I see four men unbound, walking in the middle of the fire, and they are not hurt, and the fourth has the appearance of a god.'" We come to find out that through a lot of biblical interpretation, and scholars believe that this fourth person was the angel of the Lord, also oftentimes a representation of Jesus in Old Testament scriptures. But however you break this down, basically, as these men were thrown into the fire, they were joined with another. That God, whether it was an angel of the Lord, it was Jesus before we knew Jesus is who he is, it was God's very presence. God joined them somehow, some way there in the fire, and they were not consumed. And there's a song by Hillsong United called "Another in the Fire." And you may have already heard this song. It's been out for maybe a year, I think. I'm not exactly sure, but recently they just did a amazing new studio version of this song that they used to do on tour, that they just did during quarantine. The studio version with one of their lead singers, who's the lead singer from Oceans, which I know people were really familiar with that song, but they wanted to feature her as the singer instead of some different vocalists from the original version. And it became this really powerful video that they put together of how they all put the different parts for the song together on their own to make this studio version. And it's out with some other remixes and stuff. I know they were really excited and released that last week. And it's a really, really cool thing. But as I was watching that video, and we're not really allowed to, or can really even screen grab that video to show here, or I would. But as I was watching that video, it's just so amazing how believers that create music, art, whatever, have not stopped to do that during this quarantine, and found ways to continue to create and continue to bring testimony to who God is, and to just celebrate living. And this particular song, the lyrics for the chorus are, "There is another in the fire standing next to me. There was another in the water holding back the sea. Should I ever need reminding of the power that set me free? There's a grave that bears no body, and now that power lives in me." In fact, they kind of mix the verses, the chorus up a few times, and they throw some different things in there. It's just, like most Hillsong United songs, beautifully done, a lot of great lyrics. But another in the fire, there's another in our situations that we are facing right now, however the last couple months have hit us, wherever it has taken us, whatever path, there's another in the fire with us. There's another there with us. And that is just so encouraging to think about. And the deliverance and the freedom that we experience may be hard for us to understand what that looks like when we're in the midst of it, but just knowing that that Jesus' presence, that God is with us. There's another with us there in the fire. Go check their stuff out. Again, this is Hillsong United. Check them out on Instagram. You can find all of the stuff I just talked about. You can look them up on YouTube. If you've got Apple Music or Spotify or whatever, you just check it out. Another in the Fire. The newest one just came out, studio version. I think it's going to really bless you. As far as announcements and things going on with us coming up this week, getting together with adult leadership to talk about what the summer is going to look like for us. So we hope that in the video next week, definitely tune in, because we hope in our announcements to be able to give you a pretty firm idea of what that's going to look like and some of the adjustments that we've made. And our whole goal with the guidance that we've been given, both by the state and by our bishop in our conference, we plan to have some things offered for everyone this summer, and we're just gonna take it a little bit at a time if we have to make adjustments from that. But we're excited to be able to give you some information and direction, and to be able to be with you all again in some capacities, and love the summer. So please check out the video next week. Thank you for everybody who has contributed things for these videos during the last couple months, and for all the time that you've taken to watch these. We just hope that you guys will take this week, maybe while we have a little bit of time this summer, to go back through and look at the content in the videos if you have not done this yet. There is just so much, and it's been so neat to get so many different perspectives from different people. I don't know that I've ever seen anything like this. www.oakridgeumc.org/youth, and follow the very first link that you come to with a big banner that says Ridge SD HQ, that's social distancing headquarters. We came up with a new page for that, and right below that there'll be a button where you can enter there. All these videos and everything are there, so we're going to put everything that we have on Instagram, YouTube, everything that we have, with it being up there. It's just a great opportunity to get fed in a lot of really neat ways, so please take advantage of that if you haven't been keeping up with those things. If you're on Instagram, really cool, just go to our IGTV page on our profile and just start swiping up. I mean, this is just really cool what we have available there. A lot of good stuff to watch. Come back to that often and be encouraged, but we just really hope you'll check it out. Last note is, if you'd like to still be featured in one of these, or you would like to share some encouragement, we'll be running the devotional minutes most of the summer, so we can still get a devotional minute from you. But also this week, we would love to get an answer from you to this question: where is a place or an event or a group of people or people that you feel most free to be yourself? If you could send that in a video to me answering that question, it can be a one-line answer. You can flesh it out a little more if you want, but if you'll send that to me this week, we will include that in our video as a part of this newest project we're doing. Project 10, the grand finale, if you will, comes out this Sunday, May 30th. Thank you guys so much, and can't wait to see you soon. See ya.